Hi guys, and welcome to this week's Alakazam Video Blog. Right, we're back this week with another vlog, and this week I'm joined by H.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm your dad.
18 years.
So today we've got a slightly different vlog for you. Dave's not here. Dave's getting married this Saturday. Congratulations, Dave. I'll see you on Saturday. Then he's going to be away on his honeymoon. So for the next couple of weeks, you're going to have me and Harry, or Harry and Andy, or me and Andy, or me and a guest, or Harry and a guest. You'll have a varying combination of people sitting here. But for today's vlog, we thought we would do something different. Now, anyone that's been following Harry's progression on the lives and seeing him here at Alakazam will know that recently Harry done his first commercial gig. Okay, his first gig. So we thought for you guys, because we know there's a lot of our viewers that are pros that go out there performing all the time. But we thought it would be interesting to talk to Harry a bit about his first gig, how he handled the nerves, how he handled the build-up, how the gig went. And then we're also going to talk to you about a few of the effects he did and a few of the effects that he does perform, because he's done more gigs since the first one. And also we're going to talk to you about another couple of bits. There's our brand new release, which is the gallery. Brilliant. These are being shipped out on Tuesday, I believe, of next week. These start shipping. So they've just come in, just need to be shrink wrapped, and then they're ready to go out. So we'll talk to you about that. We're going to also show you a performance of a classic effect that's come back in stock, which is John Allen's double back. So we'll give you a performance of that later on. And we're going to talk about some of the effects that Harry performs in these gigs. Now, anyone that orders from us and receives their newsletters may have been following your because I think a couple of months ago you put how you were preparing for your gig. Yeah. This month you've put how your gig went, because your gig didn't go completely to plan how you wanted it. There was good points, there was bad points. This month you focused on the bad points. Yeah. Next month in the newsletter you're going to focus on the good points. Yeah. So first of all, and I know a lot of guys that haven't gigged before are mostly feeling nervous about it. So what did you do to prepare? How did you prepare for the gig? Because I know your first gig is always like you're being thrown in the deep end.
Yeah, you never feel ready, really.
No, you never really feel ready.
So to start with, I've got to thank Jamie Dawes.
Yeah.
Obviously I've got to thank loads of people, but I'm going to big mention to Jamie Dawes, because he had a course called Your Big Event. And obviously I was sitting on every academy anyway, but that one was purely for not just your first gig, but gigging in general, how to prepare, nerves, approaching tables, which is probably the biggest thing, not the tricks as such, it's mainly approaching tables, because it's always awkward. I didn't realise how awkward it would be because you're just impeding, just interrupting, aren't you? But I learned how to do it kind of in a way that's still happy. You're not going, stop what you're doing. Yeah. Look at me. Do you know what I mean? You're joining in with what they're doing. So that was a great course to learn, and watch it if you haven't already. And then I was probably on FaceTime to Jamie, because I know you and Mum went out. Yeah, we were out that day. And I was going to go out with you, but I thought I can't risk it, not even for a chalky biscuit. So I was on FaceTime to Jamie for about 3 hours maybe. So I put my suit on, so I felt fresh, so I put my suit on, and then we went through what I was going to do, and we chopped and changed my routine about 5 times, because one of the routines was about 20 minutes. Yeah. And in a restaurant that is not good. So we mixed it up, we threw some bits out, added some bits in that were just quick fire things, but ended up with quite a good routine, which I then done at another gig, which is good. But yeah, some of the bits are here that I done. Cool. But yeah, we'll talk about that.
It's a really good point, because when I was gigging a lot, when I used to practice, I always made sure I was wearing my performing clothes when not if I'm just learning a new trick.
Yeah,
but if I was practicing my routine, I'd wear my performing clothes, because one of the things that you went through with Jamie on that call was pocket management.
Oh yeah, big time.
Where to put your props, and the fact is, it's something that most of us won't even think about. But believe you me, when you're out there performing, it's very, very important. You want to be able to go to your pockets without thinking. You want to be able to know if you do the Omni deck. You want to be able to know where it is, where you need to dump your cards to switch in the deck. You know, your card to wallet. You need to know in your performing suit. I know it sounds simple, but you need to know how high up your pocket comes. You want to go in there effortlessly.
If you're going in down here,
do it. You want to go straight in and do it. So it's a really good tip to put your performing clothes on when you're rehearsing. So with regards to, because we were discussing some of the effects you were going to do, and because it was your first gig, I knew that some of the effects you had chosen were going to be too long for tables. And your mother said to me, don't tell him, because it will sound like you're nagging, let him find out for himself. Which was fair enough. Now, the thing is, with gigging, when you're at tables, and this is why I always say, when people ask me, oh, do you do mentalism round tables? Not really. I don't do a lot of mentalism round tables unless it's quick fire. Things like the bit book, things like my real die, things that are quick fire pieces of mentalism, elimination experiment I've fallen in love with now. And that would certainly be an opener, because it's quick and visual. But some of the tricks you had chosen were things that you personally loved, but they're things that have quite a big presentation. And you found out very quickly that...
I did, because mentalism is my favourite thing, because I just think I love doing magic obviously, but mentalism for some reason I think just is more impossible in my eyes. If I prefer I feel like, I don't know, I prefer to believe mentalism if I was a spectator, and just the fact that someone can read your mind, I feel like that's more of a powerful thing to be able to do. But I did learn that what I was doing was quite long, which was annoying, because that's why I chose it, because I knew I loved it. So you know if someone enjoys doing something, because it comes across more passion behind everything like that. But I did realise what I was doing was too long.
But sometimes you can still do the same effects, because you did a gig with Lewis Fuller last week, which was a big corporate do. You got to perform to Gareth Southgate, amongst other celebrities, but you were still doing the mentalism, but you tailored it more to the environment. What that first gig done was taught you the amount of time. So if you're sitting there, that's why I always say to people, when I do mentalism, if I'm just sitting down with people at a table, or we're at the bar, or I'm doing a walk around or something like that, if I know I can stand there and talk to them for 5 minutes with a presentation, I'll do it. The problem is at a table, for those of you that haven't done it, that maybe are thinking of doing it, the problem is with a table is you never know what's going to happen. You never know when the waiter's going to come in. You never know when someone's going to get a phone call. It's not like you're doing a stage or a parlour set where you've got an audience that are there to watch you. These people are there to eat. They're there to eat. They're there to chat to their friends. So realistically, you've got to get in, do your 4 or 5 minutes and get out. And within that 4 or 5 minutes, you want to show them magic that's going to be memorable, magic that they're not only going to remember a great evening at the restaurant, but they're also going to remember you. And 9 times out of 10, when you get a residency at a restaurant, the whole idea, the restaurant aren't just getting you in, they're not spending money on you for no reason. They're spending money on you to get more clients for their restaurant. And I used to have 2 or 3 residencies in Ashford when we first moved down here, and they used to advertise it as a special magic evening. Now, after my first evening there, By the end of the evening, the restaurant was already fully booked for the next time, because people that had seen me said, we've rebooked and we're bringing. And that's what they're paying you for. So you want to make sure everyone sees it, you want to get in there, you want to make it memorable, and you want to make it fun for them. But there were some things, in hindsight, it was great, but there were some things that happened to you during the night that, to be fair, would have put a lot of people off, because it wasn't, when you come and told me, it was like you were explaining a disaster movie. I mean, but it wasn't with what you were doing. You were very au fait with the tricks you were doing. It was the clientele you were dealing with. Now, once again, this can happen all the time. So your first table, you had one of the guys was extremely drunk.
Yeah, so bad. The thing is, that's another thing. It's the first time I've ever performed to lay people. I've done magic for magicians, which is alright sometimes. For family and friends, which I found family and friends, I hate doing magic to them because I get so nervous. I couldn't, obviously you want to come across nice and that, but I couldn't care less if I'm doing it to a lay person I don't know, because I know they haven't already got an opinion of me. Do you know what I mean? I know it's very quick to make an opinion, but
that's not the right terminology. It's not you couldn't. It's not you couldn't care less. What you mean?
All right. There's no fear going into it. For me,
you're not worried about the perception that they're going to have of you with regards to. And I know exactly what you're saying, because my very first gig, I went up to the table with people, and I was very self-conscious, and I was very like, oh, hello, what's your name? Oh, okay, pick a card for me. Oh, okay, put it back, and your card's on top. And what's your name? And then I remember watching a magic video, and it was nothing in that video. It wasn't that a guy on the video said, right, you've got to do this, but something just clicked in my head. And I just thought to myself, what are they expecting to see? They're expecting a confident guy who's going to go out there, blow their minds. So now when I go in, I do, even though it's not consciously, subconsciously, I do go into a different character.
Yeah, big time.
And that character is just a far more confident, louder me. Naturally, I'm not a loud person. I don't want to be the centre of attention. I know a lot of magicians are that way inclined. They're very, wherever they are, you're going to know they're there. I'm not. I really am not. Whereas if I go into performance mode, I am.
Yeah.
But it is just me. I'm not putting on a fake voice. I'm not doing anything that's not me, but I'm far more confident. The jokes will be flowing a lot more, the one-liners and everything else. And that's what they expect. So that's what you were trying to say is, not that you don't care, but what you're saying is you're not, because if you go up to, if we go and show someone, this is why sometimes it's hard showing family, because if you go, I'm going to read your mind, they've known you all your life, and I know you don't. My sisters actually believe I can read their mind, which is great. But most people in your family, they know that you're not Harry Potter. They know that you've learned a couple of card tricks, so it's different. Whereas lay people, you can go out there and say, do you know what, my name's Peter Nardi, I've been studying mind reading for the last 47 years, ever since I was 2 years old. My mum dropped me on my head, and I've had the ability to read people's minds. And they'll go, wow. Yeah. Whereas I say to my sister, Mum never done that.
Yeah. Liar.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but it's true. You're going to take what you said as the truth, because they've got no reason to go against it. Yeah. That's why it's hard, even for patter, because if you say something, oh, this happened the other day, well, it didn't, did it? Yeah. But whereas a person, you can really put your all into it and make them believe it, which is...
Yeah. And that's the thing, confidence. And the thing was, I spoke to Lewis as well today, actually, and Lewis was saying that when he took you to the gig last week, you actually had 3 gigs in one day. And he said the difference in you, and this is always the way, it's the first table syndrome. You walk into a restaurant, you look at the first table, you scan the room, you go, okay, which one I'm going to do first? Okay, I'm going to go there. And you usually walk in, you introduce yourself, everything else, but by the time you've done that first table, you're now buzzing about the rest of the tables and boom, boom, boom.
I was for the first one was going around, and basically we done work to people when they was working, so we were performing when they was working, and I was so nervous. I always need a nervous wee, right? So I had my wee, and then I've come out and I see Lewis doing magic. So Lewis is doing magic. I'm sitting there just watching, just kind of getting to grips. What's happening? What's the vibes?
Yeah,
like,
so it's a new situation for you as well.
So I've watched him, and the reactions he got were incredible. And Lewis is a great performer, but the stuff he was doing is different to what I do. So it was nice to see how he approaches it, how he performs it, and the reactions he got, which were great. But then after I saw that, I wanted in on it. So then I went up to the other side of the room, and then we kind of met in the middle. But it was nice to hear these people are clapping over here, these people are clapping over here. The middle people are already anticipating what's going to happen. So now they're already perked up, they want to see it. So that you can kind of see them looking through their computer screens, what's happening. And then you know they're looking. So at this point, you're not slowing down, but you're kind of just teasing them a bit by making this one perfect. And now when you come over here, they're like, like, quick, come on, show it, which was fun. It was very nice.
So in the restaurant, getting back to your first gig, so you had a few things go wrong. You had a very drunk man who kept shouting, "Find his card," whereas he hadn't picked one.
Which I've already learnt from that.
Yeah.
Shall I say that?
Yeah.
So everyone said carry an invisible deck. I didn't have an invisible deck. And I was so nervous, to be honest with you. I just solely focused on my tricks. So I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think they'd go wrong, which is stupid of me anyway. But to be fair, it didn't go wrong. No tricks went wrong. But he said
he hadn't picked a card. Yeah,
so he hadn't picked a card, and he was asking me to find the card he picked. Obviously, at this point, I can say, "What was your card?" and then do invisible deck, but I didn't have it on me. So then he followed me, tripped over, and hit his head on a plant pot. Broke his nose. There weren't loads of blood on the floor, I'm not going to exaggerate. There was dots of blood on the floor, but you could tell he broke his nose and he couldn't stand up. So they carried him out and sent him home. But yeah.
So that was
that's my first table in my life.
So there was a few more things. If you're interested what else happened, get hold of the newsletter because it's all written in there. But even though you might be thinking that's terrible, now there was 3 main points that happened to Harry during that day, which were bad things, i.e. this drunk guy that was saying it happened on another table, which wasn't bad, but it was an awkward situation that had happened. Yes. But the thing is, you learn more from that one gig than you most probably learn if you would have went out and done a year's worth of gigs and everything was smooth. You wouldn't really learn those important lessons. Now, the fact is, you now know, and you told me this when you went to the other gig, that you're now scanning the situation before you perform it, which is a very good point. When you go to a restaurant, and this really only happens when you face that sort of situation. And because it's like building a routine as well. It's like when let's say Hollywood or Bust, the routine I do. The reason why that routine has sort of progressed so much is because I've made so many mistakes during the time of performing it. So now you know, because of that thing with that guy, if you would have had your invisible deck, you would have blown him out the water, or at least made everyone else go, you're trying to mess with him, and he's just sort of had you over. And the thing is, on the gig you did with Lewis last week, you did have your invisible deck, and something happened where you had to bring it into play, and it worked great. And even Lewis afterwards said, Harry done this thing. He thought it was all part of the presentation because you got out of it so well. So all these things are great little tips, but in next month's newsletter, Harry's going to be telling you the good stuff that happened. And if you do get the newsletter, and Harry's most probably going to have a little section on the new site as well, where he will be doing like a little monthly Harry vlog telling you what he's learning and little things he's been learning performing, because he's starting to do more and more gigs. So those of you that are interested in gigging, or interested in the tips of someone that's actually going from a position of hobbyist into paid performer, that will be a series that you should really watch. Harry will be discussing things like, you know, tricks that have come in, how they play, why he's chosen it, little tips and tricks that have helped him get into the position he is. So keep your eye out for that. But
can I quickly make one point?
Yeah, please.
All the tricks I pick up aren't technically difficult either. Purely because I'm starting out. To be fair, I don't think I will go into really technical, difficult tricks anyway.
Well, there's no real need. Yeah. As long as you can, I mean, you can control cards.
Yeah.
You can control cards.
I can do the basics.
Yeah, but they're the things that we all do. I mean, I when I perform, I don't do diagonal palm shifts or anything.
I control cards. I palm you don't
cards.
Really need. I mean, obviously, you need to handle cards well and
you
stuff
do,
like that. But
you do one of the best classic forces I've seen.
Yeah, yeah, but that's just practice all the time. But yeah, all these tricks aren't technically difficult, and I picked them purely because I'm starting out and I want to engage with my audience. I don't have to think. All them tricks, I don't have to think about what I'm doing there. You just learn because they're not technically difficult. You don't have to worry about, oh, can you see this pass or whatever. Do you know what I mean? You're just straight to the point, and it is powerful stuff. None of it is because it's easy. People think, oh, it's not going to be as good as it, but I guarantee the reactions in there are going to get probably more than you do.
Yeah, there's not many tricks you buy nowadays that are technically difficult. There's none of it. It's to do with you've got to be competent, which you really are. So controlling cards, forcing cards, palming cards, you can do all of that. You can do what you need to do the actual doing. You don't need to be able to do the perfect second deal if you're never going to use it.
Yeah.
You know, some people love it. Andy, who works for us, is a sleight of hand nut. I mean, his handling of cards is superb. His handling of coins are superb. But he explores different realms. He explores big gambling routines. He explores, you know, stuff that really utilises second deals, centre deals and everything else. Whereas as a working performer in the environment we're working, we don't have to. Really, I mean, my second deal was terrible, but I have never, ever, 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 ever used a second deal during a routine.
I think that's the thing of being caught up with magicians, isn't it? You always try and just improve so you can do something as best you can, but in truth, the basics are always, I mean, Omnideck.
Yeah,
the amount of people that look over Omnideck is ridiculous. Lewis, a guy can't see Lewis at the gig. He performed to him 5 years ago. The only thing he remembers, or not the only thing, but he remembers the Omnideck, the glass deck.
Your auntie Lynn, my sister, all the time says it's the favourite, the best trick she's ever seen. I showed her it 20 years ago or something, and she still says every time we're together, and she says, "Oh, can you show him some magic? Have you got that?"
The thing is, that's the thing. That's why it's fun coming new into magic, because even though there's so many tricks coming out nowadays. Like the old ones, like Invisible Deck, that got the best reaction at the gig I done. They was like, yeah, but that card facing the wrong way though. Yeah, but that card. Do you know what I mean? You just think it's so easy. That's the only thing, isn't it, with being a magician? People will just overthink the easiest beginner tricks all the time, but it's not. It's so good.
Yeah, so powerful. So anyway, we're gonna just show you a few of the tricks that Harry chose to do on his gigs, and he still does on his gigs. Contact, okay, by Rick Lax. We're not going to go into full details of these. You can check these out on the website. Contact is a great trick. I've seen you do it loads. It gets a really good reaction. You can either remove the card from a deck or just have a card in your wallet. But removing it from the deck looks great, or even forcing it from a deck. Yeah.
And that's easily adaptable depending on what situation you're in. Yeah. So if you're doing it for a special gig, you can adapt your presentation easily for it. Yeah.
Smudged. Now, we've spoken about this many, many times. I carry smudge. I've got smudged in my close-up case. I know you do it. I know Dave does it. I know Andy does it. At the end of the day, we all carry a Sharpie. You will not believe the reaction you get from a lay person performing an effect like smudged. To us as a magician, we go, it's a reveal on a pen. In fact, it's so good that David Blaine done a Sharpie reveal on one of his specials. I mean, that's saying something, that he thinks a Sharpie reveal is strong enough to be a feature in one of his specials. And smudged is great, and I guarantee you, if you get it, the reactions will be way beyond what you consider they would be.
And you are carrying a Sharpie anyway.
Yeah, that's it. So why not have it?
And you get 2 in there.
Yeah, with different revelations.
Yeah, you get 2 different things in there, so you can do 2 cards if you want.
The other one is the bit book. Once again, I've raved about this for the last 14 years or whatever it is. But Harry started using it when you first got into Magic.
Yeah.
And you still use it all the time. And this, you said this got one of the best reactions at your gig.
Yeah, it's one of them things where you just really think, because the presentation, obviously everyone's got their own presentation, but I don't know, it's one of them things that's just insane, and it works well with so many other tricks that you can just incorporate so many things into that.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
And the other thing, obviously, which we all carry, and Harry's got a beautiful name revelation routine with the Stealth Assassin. So this is a well, you'll know what a Stealth Assassin is, but this is a weapon you carry with you all the time. So that was the basics. The other thing that you did was Omen, which is one of your favourite card effects as well. In amongst this, you've done the standard Ambitious and Chicago Open and everything else, but these were sort of the gimmicked ones you did. You're also, at the moment, you're learning a decent card to wallet routine. I know Lewis is teaching you a few bits as well.
Can I just throw one other thing in there?
Of course.
The Misty Cube.
Yes.
Is the best thing I've ever performed in my life, and that's not even a lie. If you
Mini MD.
If you can afford to buy the Mini MD, get it, because that is the best thing I've ever performed in my life, and that is in my car 24/7.
And who told you to do it?
This guy, right?
Who didn't do it for ages?
Oh, me, yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking I did it. Yeah, so I was going around and I was presenting it however I would. So I'd say, I'm going to show you something. I'm not going to lie to you, it's not magic. It's kind of, I'll talk about a body language, I'll say a body language expert or influential expert, whatever I say. The amount of times I was doing it and they'd call me back again and again and again. And it was funny because at the end of the day, there was, I would say, 4 people that were on YouTube trying to look up Rubik's trick in hand or something like that. And I've got a photo of it. And also, these 2 people, I went up to them, and obviously they're at work, so I can understand it anyway, but they wanted to see a trick. They didn't want to see a trick, sorry. I went up to them and I said, "Oh, my name's Harry, I'm here to entertain you." And they didn't want to see anything, which is fair enough, because they are at work. So I moved to the next aisle and I showed someone called Yusuf. I'd done the Mini MD. His reaction, she was effing and blinding. Not at me, just as the reaction. And it was such a good feeling to get a reaction that strong for really just patter. It's not difficult at all. It
is a great trick. I bought you it a few months ago and it was sitting in your room and I kept saying, "Have you looked at it yet?" "Oh, no, Dad." I said, "Just look at it and learn it."
Needless to say, then people asked me to show them it, by the way, because the reactions were wicked.
And it's such a great thing. I mean, I do the real dice. I swear by it. We don't stock either the Mini MD or the real dice. You've got to get it from Pro Mystic. But they are great. I carry the real dice with me in my bag. I put it in my close-up case when I'm going out. If I'm going out socially, I will have it on me because it is one of the things that I know I've got a lovely basic 3-phase routine with it, quite quick, but it blows them away. Yeah. It really blows them away. And they honestly believe you're doing what you say you're doing.
Yeah, I showed this guy, Andrew, his name was, he was the one, or one of the people that had it on his screen afterwards trying to look it up. But I'd done it, and he was following me around, and I didn't miss once. It's accurate, it's clean
it's well. Beautiful, it's beautiful.
So yeah, he's following me around, and then as I'm packing up, he goes, "Please, just show me that one more time." And he goes, "I honestly don't know how you do it." And his mate's going, "Well, it's body language, isn't it? It's obvious, right?" So I'm like, "It is body language, I'm not going to lie, but we'll try something here." So Andrew turned around, he's covering his face, and he's got the cube in his hand like this. And I'm looking away, I say, "Andrew, you can take your hand away from your face, I'm not even looking at you." And I got it right. And he literally was adamant that I'd done it again, and I just said, "I can't." You've seen it. I cannot do it again and again and again. It was wicked. It was awesome.
So, guys, that's a little bit of a roundup. I hope you've enjoyed that. But there's a couple of things we do want to talk to you about as well. So, on the, I believe it's either the 17th or 18th or the 18th or 19th of October. Check out the correct dates on our website. I should know. But it's a Wednesday and Thursday in October. We've got our good friend Jamie Dawes coming down for his second Tackling Terrifying Taboos Academy course. If you joined us for the first one, you'll know how good it is. But here to tell you a bit more about it is Jamie himself.
Last year, myself and the Alakazam Academy hosted an evening of the creepy and the macabre. We laughed, we cried, and we found it very hard to get to sleep afterwards. Due to the success of last year's course, Taboos is back, bigger, scarier, and with more jumps than ever before. In this 2-day course, we'll be delving into the history books. We'll be discovering how the bizarrists and mentalists of the past use vaudevillian techniques in their seances and their spook shows. And in the props section, we'll be looking at how to age props, how to source props, and how to even use some of the tricks you already have in a bizarre setting.
The clown has been watching, clown has been spying. Catch the balloon before it drops. Catch the balloon before it
Pops. I'll be teaching you my handling of PK touches, and I'll be covering any questions you have about performing PK effects in the real world. Scripting, performance advice, theatrical technique, environment, choosing your audience, and being a responsible performer are just some of the things covered in this course. And don't forget, because of the live aspect of the Alakazam Academy, you can ask any questions you may have. From Ouija boards to haunted dolls. If you're looking to leave an impression on your audience and maybe explore the darker side of magic, then join me this October at the Alakazam Academy. He's done it.
Right, so that's happening this month, the month of October, and I really can't wait.
Neither can I. Make sure you tune in because he teaches a PK touch routine on there, which I do, and it is ridiculously good.
It is really good. It is really good. So that is Tackling Terrifying Taboos. The other thing we want to talk about is this week we've had Mr. Spellman down staying at Chateau Nardi for the last few days, where we've been filming some of the routines for the gallery deck. These are now in stock, but they're shipping out on Tuesday. The first batch is nearly sold out, so if you haven't got one yet, go and pick one up. In fact, Mark did a performance on our live, which we are going to drop in for you now.
Mark, the gallery. I've heard so much about this. Show me something from the gallery.
I would love to show you something from the gallery. This is, first of all, we have to establish for the guys at home that every image is different. You can see that, Dave.
I can
have a look through.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All
Eight
different.
Dice.
Lots of different images. The idea behind these are to sort of mix them up, memorise them. That's the fundamentals of what they're for.
Right.
However, I like to use the images because I think they're really sort of strong and powerful things for people to think of. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to try and do as much of this like with my back turned, if that makes sense. So, Dave, can you cut a portion of cards over to one side? And I genuinely am going to look away so I can't approximate how many you're cutting.
Okay.
Wherever you've cut to, can you take that card, that image, and have a look at it? But don't show Peter or anyone, you have a look. And Peter, can you actually get involved on this and take the next image as well? Bear in mind these were just shuffled up, so I have no idea what you're looking at, Dave. I have no idea of what you're looking at, Peter. Dave, can you put your image back on top where you cut? And Peter, can you put yours down? And then now, can you reassemble the deck, put the cards back on top?
Yeah, done.
Yeah, so that's pretty fair, yes?
It's very fair, Mark.
Right, lovely. And Peter, can you now give the cards just a couple of cuts? Just give them one cut, high or low, whatever you want. So now, even if I were to turn around and try to approximate roughly where David cut, it would be impossible for me to do that. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So right now, genuinely, 2 statements of facts that I'm going to make right now. Statement number 1, I promise you, I have no idea what you're thinking of.
Right.
Likewise, I have no idea what you're thinking of, because you genuinely could have cut anywhere you liked.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other statement of fact, though, is that I do know one thing, and I know that both of your images are together, because you only cut at one position. You took a card, an image, and looked at it. Peter, you looked at an image, right?
Yeah.
And then you replaced them back. So I know that they're together, right? So Dave, what I'm going to do is I don't want to touch these cards. Can you pick them up for me? And I'm going to ask you to, so we can split the images, all right? So the best way of doing that is, rather than going through and trying to find them, just go back and forth dealing the cards. So you're going to split somewhere along the line. Those images are going to be split. We don't know exactly where, which is the mystery, but they will be split somewhere. Lovely dealing. Nicely done, Dave. You've practiced.
I'm just practicing my seconds.
Is it? Is that all seconds?
Yeah.
Fantastic. But hopefully you'll agree. This is pretty fair, yeah? I can't know what images you have. And out of the 2 of you, I'm going to say right now, and I don't want to be offensive when I say this, but Peter, I think your mind is a lot easier to read. I think you're an easier person to read.
Yeah, I'm very open as a person.
Open, susceptible, vulnerable, whatever you like, you know. Well, yeah, sort of easy. You know, there's lots of different ways of looking at it, but yeah, we'll go with open. Open.
I'm an open book.
So, I'm gonna just see whether or not we can. I'm gonna have a look at this packet first. Now, I'm not 100% sure whose image this is gonna be, but if you just look at me for a second, Peter, and just genuinely visualise your card, the image that was on there, yeah? Okay. Yeah. 3 questions about it, and that's all I'm going to ask you. Is it bigger than a house?
No.
Is it something you can comfortably hold in your hands?
Yes.
And do you have one?
No.
Okay, all right. All right. This could even be... It might not even be the right one. This could be, for all I know, that might not be the right image. But I'm going to put that there, and we'll leave that there. Dave.
Yeah.
Can you visualise your image?
Yeah.
But now you can lie or tell the truth. It's entirely up to you.
Okay.
Is it bigger than a house?
Yes.
Is it something you can comfortably hold in your hands?
No.
Do you have one?
No.
And bearing in mind, all of those answers could have been complete and utter lies, okay? But we're also going to do it slightly differently with you as well, because what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to deal through these cards like this without even looking at them and getting a sense. And bear in mind, these were mixed up. Peter cut these cards. Thanks.
I'm just trying to...
Point at either one of those cards for me. Peter, for the very first time, what was the image you were thinking of?
A hot dog.
A hot dog, okay. I was looking at the right packet. You can see that we have the hot dog image there.
Nice.
But that was, I did say that you were quite easy to read.
Open.
Right? I did.
You said
open.
I was
You were quite
open.
open.
Like an open
But Dave,
book.
and remember, these were mixed up. You cut anywhere you liked.
Yeah.
I didn't even look at the faces of these ones. What was the image you were thinking of?
It was a bent fork.
A bent fork. Look, anything like that.
Ooh.
Perfect. Very good.
That is brilliant. It's a great routine.
Amazing.
So that's just one of the very few effects. One of the very many effects that you can do with the gallery.
So that was the performance that Mark did on our live. So the gallery deck itself is a deck of photographs that you can do loads and loads of effects with. In fact, I think we must have filmed 12 or 13 the other day. There was so many the other day. These will all be available in your account. Also, we'll be adding new effects on a regular basis. And here to tell you a bit more about the gallery deck is Mark himself.
During my performing career, I have asked literally thousands and thousands of people to either think or choose a playing card. Nine years ago, I designed a pack of photo cards. I truly believe revealing an image rather than a playing card leads to more possibilities, more interesting moments of process. If you think about it, a playing card can only ever be red or black. It can only ever be high or low. Whereas an image can evoke certain emotions, can take you to certain places, make you see certain colours, even imagine tasting certain tastes. Whilst completely innocent looking, they do hold two very useful principles. These two hidden elements provide you with the ability to perform some truly hands-off mentalism, mind reading, and memory techniques. The download has more routines than you could possibly ever need, along with numerous subtleties, techniques, and principles explained in complete detail. Some of the routines include 3 versions of Out of This World using photographs. I'm actually finally releasing my much cherished PM00TW. It is arguably one of the strongest things I think I've ever come up with. Peter Nardi, my good friend, has also contributed Foreseen, a fantastic prediction effect which I've incorporated with social media. Also included are a number of devious gimmicks for various effects, including my unpublished effect, Apparition. With the photo pack and the presentations that I describe on the download, you could literally perform a 15-minute set and no one in your audience would associate what you've done with being a card trick. I can't tell you how proud I am and excited to share with you the gallery.
The other thing I want to mention to you guys is Double Back is now back in stock. Anyone that's been waiting for this, pop over to the website. We haven't got many of them. If you don't know what this is a brilliant card transposition that happens in your spectator's hands. It is a modern day classic, as John Allen quite rightly says. And we will most probably, if we've got any left, we'll most probably perform this on a future vlog. But thank you so much for joining us this week. We thought it would be a good idea to get Harry on and tell you about his performing, because on a regular basis we get emails from customers saying, I've got my first gig coming up and I'm nervous and I'm not sure what effects I should do, what's going to play strong. So we thought we'd put this bit in. Also, the other thing is, when the new site goes live, Harry's going to have his own little section. He's going to be doing either weekly or monthly videos, which will be just short ones, maybe 5 minutes long, but it's going to follow Harry's progression. He's going to be telling you what tricks have sort of sparked his interest, why he's liked them. He'll be road testing them as well to tell you what the reactions are like. And if he's got any tips on them. So check that out. If you're someone that wants to start performing, then you know, you'll really want to watch Harry's little section on the new site when that's up and running. But apart from that, I think that's it for this week.
Yeah, one last thing is, we mentioned all these products, they are great, but a little quick one, Omen is actually on sale in a minute.
Right.
It's over 15% off, so it's a great time to buy if you've been umming and ahhing about it. Cool. And it is great, any named card as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. So guys, we will catch you next week right here on the Alakazam vlog. But remember also, even though Dave isn't here, we should have a live next Tuesday at 2 PM. We're going to try, Dave's away for 2 weeks on his honeymoon. Then me and H and Jenny and Holly are away on our vacation. But we are going to try and keep the vlogs and the lives running while we're away. So please sort of bear with us if there's any little interruptions in standard broadcasting. But we will catch you very, very soon, and thank you so much for your custom, friendship and support as always. Have yourselves a great weekend. See you next week.